Slabbering, Northern Irish slang for talking shit. Will you quit your slabbering?
Why is Lewis slabbering? We all heard the comments Lewis Hamilton is making about Max Verstappen. His team boss Toto Wolff is actually doing the same. Now, why would a classy corporate team principal and a 7-time world champion do this? Well, I have my ideas about it. I'm Wimbo. Here's 3 seconds to leave a like. What has been said? It started with Mercedes CEO Toto Wolff saying he was puzzled by the gap between the 2-time world champion Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. The clever thing he does is that he raises a question and then half squashes the notion he put up himself. Of course, the loyal following of Mercedes and their star driver have picked up on this and ignored the part where Wolff half debunks what he said. So what is left for the British media, social media and the fans to repeat is that Verstappen's car isn't the same as Perez's car. This narrative is very popular in Mexico too. Then Hamilton came with a shocking statement too. He said, and I quote, "All my teammates have been better than Max's," explaining that he was not amused by the narrative that was going through the media about Verstappen's achievements. He feels that the media blows things up too much for Max Verstappen. He went on to explain that Button, Alonso, Russell, Bottas, and after being reminded, he also mentioned Rosberg, were all consistent and Verstappen hadn't faced teammates like that. Now we could argue that it's impossible to compare those drivers to each other because of the teams and the cars and everything is different now. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about what compelled him to say these things because he knows the cult following will run with this. These comments were made right after it was announced that Hamilton had signed a new 2-year contract with Mercedes Petronas AMG F1 team. In case you've missed it, George Russell signed a new contract too, but that got barely any attention. Then, after the Monza race won by Verstappen, making it his 10th win in a row and doing so breaking Sebastian Vettel's record, Toto Wolff said that it was just a record for Wikipedia and nobody reads that anyway. If you add up all these pretty provocative statements during a reasonably friendly, mild season, one has to conclude more is going on. I've slept on it and I came to a conclusion that it could be one or all of these 3 reasons. Reason number 1, jealousy. Mercedes and Hamilton were dealt a pretty big blow when they lost the championship in the last lap of Abu Dhabi. Whether you agree with what happened or not, it's not hard to imagine that this had an effect on the whole Mercedes team. That's why I was a little nervous when they came out before the 2022 season with some real fighting talk. Toto Wolff said all teams had a target on their backs, and Hamilton said that if we thought he was good in 2021, wait until we see him in 2022. He was going to create havoc. Unfortunately for them, it all didn't work out as planned. What the sim data showed wasn't visible on track and they couldn't take revenge for what happened in 2021. They were pretty hopeful for 2023 though. They looked quick at the end of the 2022 season and George Russell even scored a win. They were disappointed again with their package and even had to pivot from a no sidepod philosophy to one with a sidepod. All this time, Red Bull Racing and especially Max Verstappen were raking in win after win. I can totally understand that this is frustrating, especially seeing they are used to winning and getting all the attention. So what Max Verstappen rightly suggested is that Mercedes is a little jealous of Red Bull's achievements. It's not very classy, but at least we see that side of the Mercedes team as well. Reason number 2, insecurity. Now with the advantage Red Bull Racing has in these regulations and the form every department of Red Bull Racing has, it's most likely making them wonder how long this dominance will last. These regulations don't have a silver bullet and every little tiny detail on the W15 needs to be perfect before they can start winning again next year. This is making them insecure and that's why you see them lashing out. The regulations need to be changed according to Lewis Hamilton and the budget cap is preventing them from catching up. It's all because they fear they won't be able to catch up with Red Bull. All I can say is now you know how it feels. Other teams had this for 8 years. Reason number 3, smokescreen. Mercedes has brought loads and loads of upgrades over the last year and a half and all of them promised big gains. The pundits and the Mercedes-friendly YouTubers posted video after video or wrote column after column about how things would shift in Mercedes' favor soon. In June, Toto Wolff said, "We will be able to fight Red Bull. The Silverstone upgrades would do the trick." After a P6 finish from only Hamilton in Zandvoort, after Russell fell out of the points after a puncture, all eyes were on Monza. They scored a P5 and a P6 there, which is, seeing the previous comments to the press, underwhelming, to say the least. For some reason, they don't get any criticism for that from their fanbase. They must be too busy slabbering about Verstappen's teammates, or how Perez doesn't get the same treatment as Max Verstappen. I have a feeling that the sudden activity against Red Bull is just a smokescreen to hide their own bad performance, the effect of what has been said. What I personally find a little silly of a driver like Hamilton is that he's still on the grid with many of the former teammates that Max Verstappen had. Overall, drivers are getting past simply because they don't want to ruin their tires, but I can totally see Gasly, Albon or Sainz fighting just that wee bit harder due to what Hamilton said about them. Toto Wolff and Hamilton should know by now that Max Verstappen doesn't give a shit about what's been said. In 2021, they also tried to play games, and Verstappen kept at it just as relentlessly as always. Max Verstappen mentioned as much by saying, "Maybe he thinks he gained something with that, but it makes no difference to me." So, after hearing all this, what do you think about all this? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe too. Take care now. Doei doei.